All right, so now having walked through each of these steps, these 5 steps in developing and executing a CSR strategy for your organization, I want to use one example that I think really cleanly pulls together all 5 of these steps, and that's Coca-Cola. As a global beverage manufacturer, packager, and distributor, Coca-Cola actually decided to focus one of their CSR efforts around an area that is actually one of their main strengths, and that's bottling. So at the onset, remember step 1, defining your goals, defining your objectives for the organization. When Coca-Cola actually calculated the emissions, the carbon dioxide emissions throughout their value chain, they learned of the carbon intensity of one of their principal activities, and that was the manufacturing and distribution of bottles. As a result, they actually announced, as part of their overarching corporate vision, that they would be the beverage industry leader in energy efficiency and climate protection. So remember, that's kind of an overall objective for the organization. 2, deciding where to focus. Well, for Coca-Cola, what they did is they isolated a few priorities related to this objective of becoming an energy efficiency and climate protection leader, and those priorities were essentially related to emissions and waste materials. They wanted to reduce emissions and they wanted to reduce waste materials, and they set a threshold target that they wanted to achieve. The area where they decided then they were going to reduce emissions and waste materials to focus on ended up being on bottles, specifically plant-based bottles. This hadn't really been done by any of their peers or competitors. It was a way for them to distinguish themselves, to be both competitive and have that differential advantage. Remember, product differentiation, something that your competitors don't have that adds value to you for your customer base. So as one of the world's leading producers of plastic bottles, Coca-Cola determined that this would be a formidable area to distinguish themselves. And then when they decided what capabilities, what kind of in-house strengths they needed to be successful, they actually tapped into their existing research and development team, where they had one of the world's leading polymer scientists, Dr. Shell Huang, and she was working as a research fellow at the Coca-Cola company. She helped the company unveil Plant Bottle in 2009, which was a world first, and it used plant-based material from sugarcane to replace up to 30% of the plastics in Coca-Cola products. So through their existing marketing channels, first, they leveraged their research and development team. Second, their marketing channels. Coca-Cola was able to actually unveil a very, very large global marketing campaign about this, which notified consumers of this innovation and helped to steer new eco-conscious consumers to their products. Lastly, how to get it done. Coca-Cola set very ambitious targets for the rollout of their plant bottle. Remember back to the project management slide. You need to set targets early and you set a roadmap to achieve that target. For Coca-Cola, in less than 5 years from launch, they distributed more than 40 billion plant bottle packages in over 40 countries. Their website now claims that Plant Bottle has avoided the CO2 emissions of equivalent of taking nearly 1 million vehicles off the road since 2009 when they unveiled this project. So, here's one example of how a company, from beginning to end, set their vision, decided where to focus, where to refine that vision, how to distinguish themselves from competitors, how to leverage in-house capabilities, and then how to execute that task and how to do it well. There are more, and I'm excited to see yours.